It's your boy Deebo, and I'm back at again another YouTube video. And today I have a breaking news video. But first, you have to introduce my guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
What's going on, everybody? I go by Philadephia. I'm the host of the Nest Out West on YouTube, and I'm a pretty new YouTuber. I just finished up my first full season as an Eagles content provider.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna put his channel in the description. Go ahead and subscribe to him, man. But we got to talk about the breaking news today. Carson Wentz has officially been traded to the Indianapolis Colts. And my first reaction to this is like, well, it's about time. And then when I looked at the compensation, I'm like, we got a third for this year and a conditional second for next year. I'm like, all right, that's better than what I expect. That's a little bit better than what I thought they were going to get. What did you think?
That to be honest with you, I would have. I think the deal is fair, especially with the Eagles. With the potential of that conditional second rounder to become a first rounder next year. I would have liked to have both the picks this coming draft, but like you said, we'll kind of take what we can get at this point.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
My bad. Yeah, but what I was going to say was I'm just happy for this to be behind us so we can move on, move forward, and just, start focusing on the draft and things like that. So, because it's more than just the quarterback with this team.
Yeah, I really think this entire situation was just prolonging on and on. It's like, man, you got to get this over with because this is becoming like an annoying topic. And it's like, just do the trade, take your compensation. You're going to take a J cap hit, get the best thing you can get. And I agree with you. I would have preferred to have the compensation this year because the Colts are unknown. Like the Khalil Mack trade with Oakland at the time in Chicago. Oakland didn't think Chicago was going to be that good that upcoming season. They end up making the postseason. So
yeah, absolutely.
So now the conditional second round pick can be a first if Wentz plays 75% of the snaps in the regular season, or if he plays 70% and makes the playoffs. So basically, we have the hope that he plays well, and plays enough snaps so we can get the first. And looking at it, it's like we won't know who wins this trade until after this upcoming season. Because you got Hurts, who I think is pretty good. He has a pretty nice upside. But with the Colts, is they have a good coaching staff. They have a good team. The one thing they were missing was a quarterback. They needed a franchise quarterback that could elevate them to the next level, and they think they got that in Wentz. And I think they could make the playoffs, and we can definitely see them possibly winning a game or two. But what do you think about them in the
postseason? I definitely think if Frank Reich can get Carson back to anywhere near his 2017, MVP bid season, then he is a definite upgrade over Phillip Rivers, and they made the playoffs. They made the playoffs with Phillip Rivers. So, to me, I mean, I seen a tweet earlier, just a little bit ago, that said, "I hope." What did it say? It said, "I hope Carson Wentz plays 76% of the snaps, and the Colts go 0-16."
Oh my gosh, that is bad.
Right, because they don't necessarily have to make the playoffs if he plays 75% of the snaps.
Right.
For us to get that first round next year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not someone who has been overly in love with Carson Wentz. Like I'm never married to a quarterback because I know how this league works. I know how quarterbacks come and they go, and we put all our eggs in a basket and we hope that these franchise quarterbacks, quote unquote franchise quarterbacks, will pan out. But you just never really know in this league. And I just want I first and foremost, I want this team to succeed. I want another Super Bowl. I want multiple Super Bowls before I leave this earth. So, you know what I mean? It's just, I'll always back I'll always back a quarterback if they're in Philadelphia Eagles green.
Absolutely.
No matter what, if I can back, I'm an animal lover, and if I can back Michael Vick after what he did, then I can back, I think, damn near anyone. So,
oh yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's like, and I'm just hoping that Howie does not draft a quarterback at 6. Now I
don't think he will, because he knows this season his job is on thin ice. Just like Wentz's job was on the line last season, this season is Howie, because he needs Hurts and these draft picks to count and turn out. He needs Rager, he needs Goddard, he needs pick number 6 or whatever he does in this draft. He needs it all to hit, because I don't think Jeffrey Lurie's got much patience with him, because you drafted that quarterback and you put us in this position, which is actually pretty good. I would have to say a lot of fans don't want to give Howie so much credit because he had so many misses. But if we don't have Hurts right now, what would we do? We would potentially look into trading up or drafting a quarterback, but we already have one. And I can understand people's concerns. They say his accuracy isn't as good, but just like Wentz, who people had concern for accuracy, the more reps, the more time you put in with your starters, the more accurate you become. You get better with experience. So
absolutely
I
agree with you.
don't think they'll trade up for a quarter. I don't think they'll draft quarterback, because they already dealt with enough toxic issues in the whole environment with Doug, Wentz, and Howie. It just didn't work. So I think they're going to let Sirianni coach and run with Hurts and see how it works.
I sure hope so, man, because what would be the point of replacing one quarterback controversy with a whole nother one?
Exactly.
That would make no sense to me. It would be like a tire spinning in the mud, and I sure hope that you're right about Howie being on a short leash, because, man, I just hope that Jeffrey Lurie has taken off the mom goggles, so to speak, and is kind of looking at things, with all respective, with all. I don't know. He just seems like he really, really doesn't want to pull that trigger and fire Howie. But like I said, I hope you're right, and I hope that Howie is on a very short leash, and if we don't hit on some of these draft picks this year big time, then he's got to go.
Yeah, I think.
Gotta go.
He's really. I think he really has to. As I said, his job really depends on Hurts and what else happens around. Because as long as Hurts plays good and looks like the real deal, this season will go better than people expect. Because I'm not gonna lie, at first I'm like, man, we got all this cap issues, this team, but I'm like, we do have young talent. Our coaching staff plays to players' strengths, so there won't be players that are out of position, like running a wide receiver screen with Alshon Jeffrey when you got Jalen Rager or someone a lot faster. He'll actually use players to their strengths at the best moment possible. So Howie Roseman is Jalen Hurts, and he's got to ride with Jalen Hurts. He put all his eggs in his basket, and I think it's a gamble that I think will work out. But I think in the draft, we're probably going to trade back. I think that's what Howie's been doing with all these reports. Like, you see the reports saying we're going to draft a quarterback or we're looking to make competition. No, he's not. He's going to sign a veteran backup, probably draft a quarterback late in the draft again. Hopefully it's not a Clayton Thorson. But he's not going to spend a high draft pick on a quarterback when we just had a quarterback issue last year. So he'll probably trade back. I think if he can trade back in the range where Kyle Pitts is still available, like in the 11 or 9 range, if he can trade back with a team that's giving up a lot of compensation for a quarterback, then he'll do that, because now we have a potential first for next year, and we could get more picks. Because right now the Eagles need to worry about getting as many picks and getting young talent, because we have a lot of older guys, especially on the offensive line, on the defense. So I think we should definitely look to trade back and get as many players and picks as possible.
I would definitely tend to agree with you, because I think it's definitely it's been time for a youth movement in Philadelphia for probably since we won the Super Bowl. I mean, we won that Super Bowl with some aging players like Chris Long and LeGarrette Blount, but they produced.
Patrick Robinson too. Yeah, they did.
Right. and all the Howie supporters, they all point back to that year. But you know what? Even a broken clock is right twice a day. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we can all praise Howie for the success that he had, especially in free agency in 2017. You know, with the Super Bowl year. But I mean, it's time to move on. I mean, I'll be blown out of the water if the Eagles draft a if they stay at 6 and they're in the top 10, they draft a wide receiver. I'll be happy, but I'll be very surprised at the same time because, I mean, I was looking back and they haven't drafted a wide receiver in the top 10 of the draft since 1984, my man.
Oh my God.
Kenny Jackson. The people probably don't even know who that guy is. I don't even know who he is. I was like,
I don't know either. Yeah, it's been
I
quite
was like
a while.
2 in 1984. So, I mean, that's a long time ago. But, I mean, if we have the chance to draft one of the top 2 wide receivers at 6, I say we pull the trigger,
Absolutely.
put weapons around Hurts, and just go from there. Because, I mean, so I was going to ask you a question real quick. Speaking of our wide receivers, and you're talking about Sirianni, things like that. Yeah. On our current roster right now, with Sirianni and Steichen being big time, they seem to like to develop wide receivers. Yep. Who are you most excited to see them develop?
Most excited? Out of all the receivers, I'd probably say it's like a tie for me with Rager and Fulgham, but I'm definitely going to have to say Fulgham because last year we saw Fulgham produce in a toxic situation. He didn't have as much chemistry as he could have with Wentz, and look how he produced. He was on pace to get 1,000 yards receiving that season before his injury, which is why he didn't play as much. But I would definitely say Travis Fulgham because if he was playing up to that level with, inconsistent quarterback play, imagine what he'll do with a quarterback that throws the ball and gives receivers a chance. And if Hurts develops chemistry with Travis Fulgham to give him a chance to go up and get it, I think you could definitely see Travis Fulgham be even better than we thought he'd be last year. Who are you excited to see develop?
You hit the nail right on the head. That's exactly who I was going to say. I think that Travis Fulgham has the talent, the ability, and the mindset to be a legitimate number 1 receiver in this league. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what they can do with him and some of the other young receivers that we have, like Quez and Rieger, like you mentioned.
Hightower.
Hightower. Yeah, they got to teach Hightower how to track that ball in the air, man. That guy's got to get better at that.
He could have so many touchdowns. I'm like, man, he's getting open. He can run routes. He's explosive. Like, we have these receivers that are really talented. They're just not connecting. It's not hitting the mark. But if this coaching staff can truly develop them, the main issue in Philly for the last couple of years will finally be solved.
Yes, and I was so happy to see that they retained Morehead because they need that consistency at the coaching to build on what they've already learned, to get better, and to just have that camaraderie. I don't know if you seem like you're a pretty in tune Eagles fan, so you probably know, but Doug Peterson had a different wide receiver coach every single year he was the coach of this team.
Oh, I'm very aware. Yeah, a different one. Greg Lewis to Carson Walsh, Mike Bro. It changed every year, and it's like, man, we can't have no consistency.
Right, and the best year that we had was when the Super Bowl year is when Groh was the wide receiver coach.
Absolutely.
And it seemed to kind of tailspin from there, but. I mean, it's an exciting time. There's, a lot of people are blaming Howie for, the division of the fan base because of everything now that, Wentz is gone. And now, the Wentz supporters are going to be extra hard on Jalen Hurts. But to me, it goes even back. It goes further than that. It goes back to when they decided to go with Carson after Foles won the Super Bowl.
Wait a minute. You did say you weren't a big fan. You weren't the biggest fan. So you're saying back then we should have stuck with Foles instead of Wentz?
Well, I honestly think that it would have helped Carson not only in his development as a quarterback, but it would have helped him in the transition because he could have learned some of the nuances of this league. He could have been out of the spotlight a little bit less if he would have sat behind Foles for at least a year.
Oh.
And don't get me wrong. So where I think Howie really made the mistake was he gave Carson all that money before he proved that he wasn't damaged goods. And I'm not saying Carson is damaged goods, but in the dynamic that he was being coached, in the scenario that he was in, things just did not work out. So that's just my take, man.
Yeah, I definitely feel like Howie jumped the gun on paying him because, he wanted his client to feel good after the whole Foles situation. And
right.
I think Howie has officially been through enough to where there's no excuse. You have to learn from your mistakes. So from here on out, trust your scouts with draft picks. Do not jump the gun to pay because we need to become like New England with contracts. Like, if this player hasn't proven they are consistent and playing at a high level enough to get a deal like this, they don't deserve it. Like Jalen Hurts, he should not receive a contract until we see a deep playoff run out of him. So
absolutely,
if this season we make the playoffs, say we go like 10-6 and win one game, you don't pay him. But if he goes back to the postseason next year and looks better, then you start talking about paying because you've already wasted 1 year on his contract. He has 3 more. So you got to see 2 good years out of him before you talk about paying because then he'll have 1 last year on that rookie deal because he's a second-round pick, so he only gets 4. So you should wait on him getting a contract. And I feel the same way about all the other players. Sanders is my favorite player on the Eagles, and I feel like he was held back with the injured O-line, coaching staff not running the ball with him. He hasn't had one game with 20 or more carries. Can you believe that?
I've said the same thing quite a bit on my videos on YouTube on the Nest Out West because it's unbelievable how Doug let that happen. I mean, he is an explosive talent. That kid can score from anywhere on the field. And the fact that he hasn't got more than 20 carries in a game this far into his career is an absolute shame, and it's a waste of talent.
It really is. And I feel like with Sirianni coming from that Frank Reich tree in Indianapolis, they ran the ball. Jonathan Taylor, he got the football. So
yeah.
I feel like with the
and
new
Marlon
staff,
Mack did too. Even going back a couple years ago, Marlon Mack did well in that offense. They ran the ball, quite a bit with him, and I believe he had over 1,100 yards that I think in 2018 Marlon Mack did, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he did have a good year, and he's actually a free agent. A lot of people are mocking him to sign with us for 1 year, and I could see it happening because we definitely need a running back too. Because and the injuries, it's no guarantee. So, and that's another factor to this team's success going forward. If we can finally have a healthy team year in and year out, now of course you're never going to be 100% healthy, but if we can be a little bit more healthy than we've been before, I think this team can succeed a lot better. Because a healthy O-line, like a lot of people point out, Carson Wentz's record with Lane Johnson is a lot better than without. A lot better.
Absolutely.
So, Jalen Hurts, and you saw what he did in the Cardinals game and the Saints game. That Cardinals game, that showed you that he can deal with all the negatives and downfalls of a season with injuries, coaching, playing bad. With Sirianni, I feel like if he has a healthy team around him, that could be the biggest factor to this season. Health. If we can stay healthy on the offensive line, secondary, and all that, the team could go as far as ever. Really.
I agree with you. Health has definitely been a major concern the last few years, especially this last year with how many different offensive line combinations we used. I mean, it was
14 out of 16. Hello?
Are you there? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you heard me, but with all the different injury combinations that we've had on the offensive line, the health is definitely a concern for this team going forward. I mean, we had a disaster up front this past year, but I think the one bright spot from this past year was the emergence of Jordan Mailata. He definitely, to me, in my eyes, he's earned his starting position there at the left tackle. And I know it surprised a lot of people because of his struggles in camp and things like that. A lot of people didn't expect him to kind of emerge the way he did and play as pretty solidly as he did. And I was definitely excited to see that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, if the Eagles if we can stay healthy, like you said, I think the sky is the limit. I mean, I definitely think that we can win the division and get into the playoffs and probably even win a playoff game because, our division for the most part is kind of in a flux. With the Cowboys, they don't know what they're going to do with Dak, and the Redskins really don't have a quarterback going forward. And the Giants, I mean, they're probably the more an upcoming team in our division, but I mean that kind of depends on their health too with Saquon and all that. So we'll see.
Yeah, it absolutely is intriguing to see where this team goes because one thing, this transition from Doug to Sirianni, everything that happens, it kind of reminds me when we went into that Chip Kelly era when it was a lot of unknowns. New coach, you never seen him before. I mean, you had Vic, but then you got Nick Foles coming in. It's like it feels like it's those years again where you don't know, but we know what Sirianni is from. He's from the Sirianni tree, which is from Doug and the Andy Reid tree. So we know what we're getting in coaching, but we don't know what we're gonna see. So it's like that makes it interesting because your expectation could be either a little bit higher, a little bit low, but I think Eagles football will be a lot of fun to watch because Jalen Hurts, I don't care what no one says, Jalen Hurts made Eagles football fun at the end of the season.
He did.
Interesting to watch.
He absolutely did. And if Sirianni and the coaching staff, if they approach this the way I'm hoping they're going to approach it, and we are more of a run first team and we smash people in the mouth up front and we get that, we win in the trenches and we get Miles Sanders going and hopefully bring in another running back to complement him, then, I think that's going to take so much pressure off of Jalen and he could ball out in that situation like that because when you're a run first team, that means you got play action on your side. So that just opens things up even more. It makes things, simplifies things even more for a young quarterback like him. So I just hope we do become a run first team. And, I'm not saying like run like 70% of the time or anything like that. But if we can establish the run game early and often up front and dominate, have that offensive line fire off the ball, then I think that can only help everybody on the offensive side.
Absolutely. We just let our playmakers do just like they try to teach Wentz. If you let your playmakers do the work for you and the coaching goes well, this team can be good. But anything else you got to say about Jalen Hurts and the Eagles going forward?
Just that, that I think that the Eagles fans, no matter if you're a Carson Wentz supporter or you're a Jalen Hurts supporter, you got to give this kid his time, give him the respect of being the starting quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles now, and let the Jalen Hurts era begin, because I've been reading so much of this hatred that Jalen Hurts is already a bust. I mean, there's this guy I was talking to earlier on Twitter that basically was saying that he would take any other bust from the NFL other than Jalen Hurts, but yet he was saying that he wasn't calling Jalen Hurts a bust. So he was saying I was misconstruing what he was saying, but I don't know how you could say you're going to take any other bust from the NFL. Like he was saying, he would even take Jamarcus Russell over Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, that's out of this. That's out of this world.
Right. So we just got to give him his time. I don't want to. I am far from calling him a bust. He hasn't. He showed me some. Definitely, he showed me some bright spots. But he hasn't shown me enough to where I could say, yes, he is our our franchise quarterback going forward.
Yeah.
But we have to be patient as Eagles fans, and just try to ride this thing out and see where it takes us.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely gotta give Jalen Hurts like this upcoming season for Hurts. I feel like it's his rookie year extended. You got to give him a chance to learn the game, and he's definitely a student. He's already begun working out with the younger receivers and developing chemistry similar to what Wentz did. So if he develops that chemistry, like we said about Travis Fulgham and Rager, if he develops that chemistry with them, and we don't know what we're going to get in the first round, we don't know what we're going to get in the draft. We may trade for a veteran receiver that's out there, but we're definitely going to see a lot better play out of the receiving core and the offense. But all right, YouTube, I'll talk to you later, man. Peace.